Hey everybody, welcome back to another movie review. Hope you guys been enjoying the content on the channel as of late. We're in my living room, as you can tell. My cat is in my room and all the lights are off, the curtains are closed, so she's just very at peace, so I just want to leave her be. So we're actually gonna do this in my living room. We just watched it here in my living room. And then after this I have to go to the grocery store because I gotta get some stuff before all the Christmas shopping and stuff takes over in the next few days. But I'm going to do a quick bite-sized review of this film that I just checked out. That film being Maria, which was directed by Pablo Larraín, who we've discussed before on this channel, who has directed films such as Spencer, which I thought was very, very good, as well as a film called Jackie, which starred Natalie Portman, which I'm not too familiar with. This one stars Angelina Jolie as Maria Las Calvas, I believe. Very I presume a fairly well-known opera singer, and it examines her final days as she is. As the film shows at the beginning that she eventually passes on, and then the film then explores the week prior to that event of her, passing, as she is descending, as she is riddled with drug, addiction, utilizing medications, but abusing that privilege. And in that also doing a lot of self-reflection as the film explores trying to attempt in the abstract of representing her eternal, feelings, her desires, and within that examining her past events and how it led up to her present self and how it may in fact, form the basis of who Maria is in the current moment. As I said up front, I really admired Spencer a lot, mainly to do with the performance that Kristen Stewart put on. I thought she was terrific in that role, but also a lot to do with, because as I've heard also in discussion of Jackie, these films are examining women who are haunted by their past and haunted by specific events that have ultimately formed in their present judgment. And Spencer, to my memory of it, was sharing in that same spirit. But in the case of Spencer, I think that the execution of it, more or less also aesthetically speaking, I think really plays up those feelings quite well. And, examining also apparent behaviors that were taking place within Princess Diana's, current situations like toxicities, isolation, all these, apparent feelings that create more of a sympathy towards this character, and it actually empowers that performance much more that Kristen Stewart was providing. In the case of Maria, what you get in Maria is something very, very self-indulgent, and I think that examination that Spencer did very, very well is unfortunately not so present when it comes to this, because what you get in Maria is a lot of, firstly, I mean, aesthetically, I feel that it's fair, but I don't think it is as inspired as Spencer was, where I feel that the tints are very orangey and just don't have a lot of layers to them. It just feels kind of flat, and overall, look, I mean, just by production design, it looks very nice, but just by overall aesthetic, it just doesn't feel like there's not much to the tint, there's not much to the grading. It doesn't feel like that there is a fashion to the film as much as Spencer was. It lacks that fashionable sense that is apparent, I think, in Lawrence's filmmaking. But a lot of the issue that I take with Maria, and to further illustrate, I only saw about an hour. I got about literally halfway through. And the reason why I did not indulge myself with the other half was because of this apparent just characterization of this specific, person. Now, I don't know if that is an accurate portrayal or not, but if it is insufferable. I mean, just the characterization of who this person is. For starters, they are incredibly narcissistic because their examination really is not a case of self-reflection, as it is more just a bathing of their past events, just basking in this, like as she is walking around, as she is just talking to people, which in essence is just her inner monologuing, like all she is doing is just reveling in her past. She's not looking at her past and making a case of, okay, well, I made mistakes and I should acknowledge those mistakes before my time is up. It's just a person who is just completely engulfed in themselves and completely full of themselves as a result. And in that, it is very, very hard for me to sympathize with that, because the other problem with the film is that it doesn't wish to make a case or make a judgment of said person. It's in how Maria is uh, empowered in the film, and how she is just such a powerful presence, and a powerful, just in generally, by wealth and by overall whatever, she's just powerful. Everybody else seems rather mute also in terms of how they talk to her. They very specifically, you know because they don't wish to, I don't know, like, it just seems like there's a shield, a barrier throughout, and it just doesn't give color to that specific character. It just cements her in this very egotistical, very apparently withdrawn, and insecure, and again wrapped up in this narcissistic, like, all those qualities are so apparent, but it doesn't elicit sympathy, it doesn't elicit connections, and it sure as hell does not make me care about who this person is, or wish to continue further with this specific portrayal. Angelina Jolie is fine. I mean, I don't think that she does anything that noteworthy outside. I mean, the voice that she puts on, if that is a voice that she's putting on, is nice, but it's just say that that's really all that I get out of that, because what she is playing, what is written there, I feel is very, very just very lacking in dimensions and lacking in a proper examination. It wishes to not comment on who Maria is. It just gives you, it just allows this characterization to exist, but doesn't wish to give you provide a judgment to that characterization. And that's a problem. And that creates a big distance, and that creates a big sense of doubt as to why I am having to even have this person even share the same space that I am in. Like, and it's a thing about film that people, I feel, also misunderstand, is that every film has a judgment already laid out to you. It's just a matter of how they deliver it to you. There's films that are interpretive in language, absolutely, but there is a core judgment that is there. You can't make films just out of thin air. You have to have some sort of judgment implemented there. And in the case of Maria, it just feels as though they're bathing in this sort of spirit, and I just think that that is just fairly toxic and not interesting at all. It just makes for a character that is very annoying, very hard to stomach, and in terms of just the overall production, it feels like it is very lacking. But to some extent, as that character is, very insufferable too. So I wasn't that thrilled by Maria. I felt it to be very full of itself. I think that there are some odd choices that are embedded also within its its structure. There's some cases of fourth wall break that happen, which I felt was just really odd. The fact of which that the filmmaker has to implement things within the production to make it self-aware to the audience, like the little clapboards and other things like that. It's as if like Pablo himself is also bathing in that spirit as well, bathing in a very self-indulgent type of mindset, and it just doesn't make something of a good piece. It just makes it something very annoying and frankly very distant in terms of my connections and my desires to invest further. So yeah, I thought it was very full of itself. I thought it was fairly annoying, and I think that the examination is very, very flawed. I think that they needed to do a lot more rudimentary, a lot more honesty, and in that, I feel like I'd be more fascinated by that study, because it's I mean, what it is it's dissent, it's self-reflection, in those two behaviors, or those two things happening at the same time. but it just doesn't have the character to supply that to where I feel it is a worthwhile experience. To anything, it just finds more and more reasons for me to distance myself from it, and eventually just turning it off. So, so yeah, I was not that big of a fan of Maria. I found it to be very, very full of itself and very, very self-aggrandizing, and it's not a spirit that I welcome in any respect. And in the filmmaking, unfortunately, and in the characterizations of this specific person, it's just not suitable, and it just is not worth sitting through for its entire duration. So yeah, so those are my thoughts on Maria. I was not a big fan of it. I found it to be very full of itself, fairly insufferable, and just fairly redundant in terms of what they're choosing to how they're choosing to examine it. It just doesn't bring anything new. It just brings the same narcissistic behavior that I am just really not a fan of. So, but you guys know your thoughts on Maria if you guys have seen it, and if you guys have seen other film from Pablo Larraín, Jackie, which I haven't seen. Let me know your thoughts. Your thoughts on Spencer if you guys have seen it. I really enjoyed Spencer for the opposite reasons that for Maria. But like I said, Spencer I just feel has more of a range, and it has more of a sympathetic edge within that exam. It's choice and examination and giving you that range. Maria is very, very specific, and I do not like that behavior that it wishes to indulge in. But you guys know all your thoughts, Pablo Larraín-esque, in the comment section below. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until then, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.